I'm constantly barraged online with people asking about the various shows that Nirvana opened for Skinyard. A lot of people like, they never opened for you. I'm like, yeah, they actually did, like several times. I have the dates, and I just want to talk to you about your memories of each of those dates. And those shows.
There aren't any. I wasn't watching them.
But you didn't watch the band? You didn't watch Nirvana when they opened
No,
for?
I did
Really?
not. No, I was usually out in the van trying to come up with a set list,
Okay.
or
Well then
otherwise just, saving my hearing or something. I don't remember actually watching them play even once.
that's funny. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have this discussion anyway, and I'll back up a little further because it's one of my favorite memories and kind of one of my favorite stories actually. And that's when we had a rehearsal and you had just recorded the demo the weekend before. And you came in and you were like really animated and kind of excited. And you're like, "Oh, dude, I'm probably saying dude wrong, in non-Jack fashion, but like you were like, I just recorded this band and you got to hear it. You got to hear this." And we're like, "Okay." And maybe you remember this differently because it was a long time ago.
No,
But
this is what I was doing. It was probably the recording I did with Dale Crover on
yeah,
drums.
it was
You know,
much of which later became Insesticide. But I
yes.
remember you're like, you got to hear this. And we sat down. We literally like delayed the beginning of rehearsal because we were listening to this tape of that first set of songs.
Yeah.
And I remember all of us kind of going, whoa. It was immediate. It was unquestionable. It was undeniable.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like for me anyway, I think maybe a couple of us like, oh, why bother? Because it was so immediately good and it was so obvious. And as a band, Skinyard always worked really hard at arrangements and just getting every nuance.
Yeah, no, we were very deliberate. We had to rehearse. I mean, these guys came in and banged it all out in like
Right.
one take in each freaking song.
I know.
And then he did all the vocals in one take after
Right.
that. And oh boy, they'd made it look easy.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember kind of going, oh God, they're the real deal. And so for a little while, I think I had this feeling of like imposter syndrome or something. But anyway, I remember we're like, let's call them up and let's see if they want to play with us for our next show. And I remember calling Kurt and saying, hey, do you want to play our next show? And for whatever reason, I think they had a conflict or they already had a show somewhere else, so they couldn't do it. So they played the next show after that with us that we had, which happened to be the July 30th show at Squid Row.
Yeah.
Just the two of us, which, is kind of legendary I think it was their second show ever in Seattle, if I'm not
May have been their
mistaken.
third. I've gone deep on this. It might have been their third because they did at least one show at the Central with like two people in the audience.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's not very well remembered.
Okay.
Anyway, it was definitely an early show. It was probably
But
their first show that was attended by a lot of people.
it was attended by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I remember it was a Saturday. We were headlining on a tiny stage that was the size of a cracker. And I remember Chad had those funny drums with those,
Yes, they're on you can see them on the cover of Bleach, actually.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, those crazy drums. And I remember that show because I was right up front center. And I remember how just kind of awkward and uncomfortable they seemed,
It's
and,
true.
And partially because, Chris is like, 7 feet tall and lanky and, and it was a tiny stage. And I remember like Kurt almost seemed like he was afraid of the mic.
The fact is that the songs were a little difficult to sing and play at the same time.
Sure.
His songwriting had to evolve so that the simple guitar parts were where the singing was. I had to do the same thing with my solo band, Endino's Earthworm, which I forgot to mention. That was the last significant project I had. You have to learn, once you start singing, it changes your songwriting.
Sure.
And
That
the
makes sense
initial
to me.
stuff that Nirvana did was kind of like the initial stuff I did and the stuff we did in Skinyard before Ben joined, which was you jam a bunch of riffs together. Oh, that's fun. We'll go from here. We'll do this riff here, and then
Right.
and then you try and sing over it, and you're like, wait a minute, my fingers don't work anymore because I'm trying to sing. It's impossible. So you have to basically structure the singing to go over the parts that are easier to play, which Kurt did. It's an evolution that many of us went through, and he hadn't done that yet.
But I also think he hadn't yet developed the confidence that would eventually just be
that's
like,
true too. Basically, the
they were
songs
such a
were
young band at this point.
Yeah, they were totally new, and he just wasn't comfortable on stage yet. And he hadn't,
Right.
like I said, he hadn't worked out that
Right.
that secret of being able to deliver a really good vocal is that's the part where you do the simple strum chords.
But I do remember they sounded great.
Right.
Like
The parts
they
were
looked the what I was hearing and what I was seeing did not quite match up, but they were great. I mean, and I just remember it being a really fun night. I was going to ask you, are you the one that designed that poster that says Skinyard Nirvana with the old 50s car?
Yes.
That's
Guilty.
you.
It's a terrible poster.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
that poster.
Guilty as charged.
I love that poster.
I totally ripped off the Metallica logo.
No, man,
And
it's
it's
totally
like,
cool.
I just thought it was funny, actually, because there's,
I only recently just became aware of the fact that you, because for years I'm like, I don't know who designed that. And then I just discovered it's like, oh, that was Jack. I'm like, no shit.
No, there's a reason I didn't do a lot of Skinyard posters, actually.
I actually really like that poster.
Extremely few.
Yeah, well, I did the vast majority.
You did the vast majority.
Yeah, and So the next time we played with Nirvana was that November. It was a Wednesday, and up in Speedio Tubbs.
That was the Bellingham show with Coffin Break.
With Coffin Break, it was Nirvana, and then Coffin Break, and then us. And I don't actually remember a whole lot about that show. I don't think a lot of people were in attendance.
I believe there may be footage from somewhere of Nirvana playing it. I've seen still photos that look like they might have been taken on that stage.
Do you have any recollection of that show? Of anybody? Of us? Of Coffin Break? Of Nirvana?
Not much.
Yeah, I don't either.
I have a vague memory of what it looked like just because I remember some photos that appeared.
And I think it was like downstairs in a basement, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was like a little curtain behind the stage, maybe, I don't really remember.
That was the poster for that show was that classic one that Jim Blanchard did, which is just this amazing.
I thought that was you.
No. With a weird guy. Yeah, that was Jim Blanchard design.
Okay. And then when was the next one? If we're going to keep talking about Nirvana.
Yeah, and then we'll get off of this. The next one was February of '89, and that was we'll just say legendary. The Hub Ballroom show at UW campus with us, Girl Trouble, Fluid, and Nirvana. And we were the headliners.
Correct.
But we kind of pulled a dick move, and we made Girl Trouble go on last.
That was you.
Okay, I pulled a dick
whatever.
move.
All's good now. I get along with Trouble.
I will happily own that I was the one being the dick move. But the thing is, it actually ended up not being a dick move.
No, people stayed.
Everybody stayed, and Girl Trouble fucking killed it. Like,
slayed it.
Every single band that night was just amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
And I remember that show as just being just amazing, fantastic. Huge room.
It's the only time I remember Ben McMillan crowd surfing. I don't know if that ever happened again in Seattle.
Yeah. And there's that poster of us. I don't know if you remember, there's this great poster of us kind of shot from the side. And there's this hand sticking up from the crowd in front of the stage holding a rubber chicken.
Yes. I believe that's inside our Fist Size Chunks album fold out, actually.
I wonder who that was.
Who was the rubber chicken guy?
Who brings a rubber chicken to the show?
Right.
I don't know.
It's a good question. Maybe somebody will tell us.
So the very
So you're forgetting there was one more. There was a fourth one.
I'm getting to the fourth one.
Getting there. Okay, yeah.
The fourth one is the last one.
Okay.
Which is Friday, May 26, 1989 at Green River Community College.
Oh yeah, right.
Is there another one on as well as this?
No, the other one is us opening for them in Europe.
No, this is about the 4 times that they opened for us. So,
correct. Yes, absolutely.
The last show that we played with them, where they opened, was the last show we ever played with Scott.
Okay, that's probably true.
Things were not going well at all with him and the band and the energy. And I don't know if we had told him at this point that this was the last show. I really have no recollection. But this was the point at which it became painfully clear that Nirvana was no longer of a stature where they should be opening for us.
Now, that was the only time I ever saw them with Jason in the band. Jason Everman played that show.
Was really? And Dave Grohl was on drums.
No.
I'm almost positive.
No.
No?
The two of them were never in the band at the same time.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Dave did not even join until after Skinyard was in Europe or whatever. I mean, it was still Chad. Okay. Remember that Jason is on the cover of Bleach.
Yeah, I know.
Which
is funny because he's not on the record.
No, but he was in the band when right after that when Chad was in the band. So it had nothing to do with Dave Grohl.
I could have swore that Dave Grohl. Well,
nope.
I believe you. I believe you.
Chad.
But what I do remember is they talk about a band slaying.
Oh yeah, they were mighty.
God.
They were mighty.
Nirvana just destroyed, and it was painfully obvious that every single person in the room was there for that.
At that point, yeah. The next band was what? Bible Stud, I think.
Well, Bible Stud played first.
Did they?
Yes, and then Nirvana, and then us. And I remember we're like, oh shit, they just completely destroyed. And
True.
I remember almost immediately people started shuffling out of the room, and we were up there scrambling to get everything plugged in and ready to play, to at least try to hold some crowd. And this was last show with Scott, and I don't think we played very well, and things were tense in the band. It was just like, oh man. And it was after that we weren't really sure if we were going to continue to be a band or not. It was kind of the end of our whole cycle with Scott, and and we went into a year-long hibernation after.
14.
Close enough. And thankfully Barrett came in to restore everything and breathe new life into what I still consider to be the best record that the band ever did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no argument.